Everything is about to change in 1923 Season 2, Episode 3. The Duttons are facing their harshest winter yet, and this time, not everyone will survive. Spencer is on his way home, but will he arrive in time to save his family? Meanwhile, Elizabeth and Jack's love is hanging by a thread, Alexandra's life is in grave danger, and Tiana's fate is colliding with Spencer's in a way no one saw coming, and if that wasn't enough, Donald has just put his most ruthless plan in motion, a plan that could steal the Yellowstone ranch right out from under the Duttons. Betrayal, heartbreak, and death are all coming in Episode 3, and it's time to break down everything we know. The biggest threat in Episode 3 isn't a person, it's winter itself. The snowstorm has already forced the Duttons into desperate survival mode, but now it's about to claim its first victims. As we saw in the previous episode, Jacob was doing everything in his power to protect Zane and his family, but it may not have been enough. Trapped under a wagon, surrounded by freezing winds, Zane's earlier words, "If we survive," are starting to sound like a tragic prophecy. And here's the worst part. He won't be the only one to fall. The storm is relentless, and Episode 3 will reveal just how brutal the Montana winter can be. Some of the Duttons' closest allies won't make it through the night, and their loss will send shockwaves through the ranch. Meanwhile, Elizabeth is barely holding on. The wolf attack changed everything for her. She's cold, injured, and emotionally drained, and after enduring one trauma after another, she's questioning whether this life is worth it. Her relationship with Jack, once full of passion and promise, is now being tested like never before. The tension between them will only grow as she realizes that love alone might not be enough to keep her here. And let's not forget, she still hasn't fully recovered from her miscarriage. The physical pain is one thing, but the emotional toll is breaking her spirit. Will Jack be able to convince her to stay, or will she decide that the Dutton life is too much for her to bear? At the same time, Donald Whitfield is using the storm to his advantage. While the Duttons are struggling to survive, he's busy executing his most ambitious plan yet, taking the Yellowstone ranch right out from under them. In the upcoming episode, we'll see him present his ski resort proposal to the city council, trying to manipulate them into forcing the Duttons off their land. And here's the twisted part. He's not just after the ranch. He wants to humiliate Jacob, to break him completely. But Donald isn't the only one scheming in the shadows. Even Banner, his right-hand man, is starting to realize how dangerous he is. If Banner himself is afraid, that should tell you everything you need to know. But will he do anything about it, or is it already too late to stop Donald? Spencer is on his way, but will he arrive in time to stop the chaos? Or will he come home to a family that's already been torn apart? Spencer Dutton has fought wars, hunted beasts, and survived the most brutal conditions, but nothing could have prepared him for what he's about to face when he finally reaches Montana. He left a man seeking purpose. Now, he's returning to a battlefield that may already be lost. The journey home has been nothing short of disastrous, with setbacks at every turn. But the most painful part is that he still has no idea just how bad things have gotten. By the time he sets foot on Dutton land, will there even be a family left for him to save? Meanwhile, Alexandra is walking straight into the jaws of danger. Separated from Spencer once again, she has been taken by her family's influence, and Episode 3 is about to reveal just how far they're willing to go to control her fate. They see Spencer as a disgrace, an American brute who stole their daughter, and they're not letting her go without a fight. Alexandra is resilient, but even she may not be able to withstand the pressure they're putting on her. Her family has the power to erase Spencer from her life completely, and if she can't find a way to escape soon, they may succeed in keeping them apart forever. Back on the ranch, the absence of Spencer is being felt in the worst way possible. Jacob is barely holding on, his strength fading as winter takes its toll, and Kara, once the unshakable force holding the family together, is beginning to break under the weight of it all. She's fought for this land with everything she has, but for the first time, doubt is creeping in. Has she been fighting a losing battle? The arrival of new threats is making it clear that the Duttons are surrounded on all sides, and without reinforcements, they might not stand a chance. Spencer is racing against time, but fate has a cruel sense of humor. Just as he gets closer to home, the storm intensifies, blocking roads, cutting off supplies, and making the final stretch of his journey nearly impossible. This isn't just an obstacle, it's a warning. The world is pushing back, testing him, making him prove just how much he's willing to endure. But Spencer has come too far to turn back now. He has one mission: get home, protect his family, and reclaim the Yellowstone ranch. But will he be too late? While Spencer battles the elements, Donald Whitfield is tightening his grip, pushing forward with his ruthless plan to own the Dutton land. His power over the town is growing, his influence spreading like wildfire, and with every passing day, Jacob's hold on the ranch is slipping. The land is on the verge of being taken, and the Duttons are running out of time. And then there's the biggest question of all. What happens when Spencer finally confronts the man responsible for his family's suffering? Will he be the savior the Duttons need, or will he bring even more destruction with him? Alexandra's world has turned upside down. She thought she had escaped the life her aristocratic family forced upon her, choosing love, adventure, and an uncertain future with Spencer over the suffocating expectations of her past. But now, in a cruel twist of fate, she finds herself trapped, torn away from Spencer and back under the control of the very people she ran from. Her abduction isn't just a desperate attempt to bring her back into the fold, it's a statement. Her family is powerful, ruthless, and willing to go to unimaginable lengths to undo the choices she has made. To them, Spencer is not a husband, he's a disgraceful mistake, a dangerous man who threatens the legacy and reputation of their bloodline. And in their minds, Alexandra doesn't have a choice. She will be forced to marry the man they choose, forced to live the life they deem acceptable, and if she refuses, they'll break her spirit until she submits. But Alexandra isn't the same woman who left England. She has survived shipwrecks, witnessed the brutality of war, and fought against every odd to be with Spencer. She won't go quietly. Episode 3 will see her battle not just her family, but the entire system working against her. Wealth, influence, and social power are weapons that she cannot fight with brute force. She must be smarter, craftier. But with every passing moment, the walls close in. She's been isolated, cut off from the outside world, and the fear is beginning to creep in. Has Spencer even realized what's happened to her? Does he know she's in danger? Or is she truly alone in this fight? Meanwhile, Spencer is navigating his own nightmare, unaware that the woman he loves is being held captive. He believes Alexandra is simply waiting for him, enduring the challenges of separation just as he is. But when he finally learns the truth, it will unleash a side of Spencer that no one, not even Alexandra, has ever seen before. This is no longer just about getting home. This is war. And the moment Spencer realizes what has been done to Alexandra, there will be no mercy. But the question is, can he reach her in time? Her family has taken every precaution, ensuring that no one, not even Spencer Dutton, can find her. They have ties to powerful men, dangerous men, and if Spencer dares to defy them, he'll be facing forces far greater than any battlefield he's ever fought on. They see him as nothing more than a reckless soldier, an American with no real standing, no real power, and that makes him unpredictable. What they don't understand is that Spencer doesn't need wealth or status to be dangerous. He is a hunter, a survivor, a man who has fought death itself and walked away. If anyone thinks they can keep Alexandra from him, they are about to learn just how wrong they are. But there's an even greater danger looming, one that neither Alexandra nor Spencer can see coming. Because while Spencer prepares for battle, another storm is brewing back in Montana. The ranch is slipping through the Duttons' fingers, and the more desperate they become, the more reckless their enemies grow. Winter has arrived in full force, blanketing the land in a merciless cold that threatens to claim lives. And in the chaos, Whitfield sees his opportunity. He doesn't need to fight a war, he just needs to wait. Because while the Duttons struggle to survive, he is already laying the groundwork for their destruction. By the time they realize what he's done, it might be too late. And if Spencer doesn't return soon, there may not be a ranch left to save. But fate has a cruel way of twisting destiny. Just as Spencer fights his way back home, his path is about to collide with someone he never expected. Someone whose own fight for survival may change the course of his journey forever. Tiana Rainwater. And what happens next will shake the very foundation of the Dutton legacy. As Spencer races against time to find Alexandra, his journey takes an unexpected turn, one that will change not just his fate, but the fate of the Duttons forever. Lost in his own battle, he doesn't yet realize that destiny has placed another warrior in his path. Tiana Rainwater, a survivor of horrors beyond imagination, is fighting her own war, one that has forced her to become as ruthless as those who seek to destroy her. She's been hunted, brutalized, and nearly broken, yet she refuses to bow to the forces that want her erased. Now, as winter tightens its grip on the Montana landscape, Tiana is no longer just a girl running for her life. She is a force of nature, an unstoppable storm brewing in the heart of the West. But even as she fights to survive, she cannot ignore the darkness that looms over the land. The mission to wipe out her people is far from over, and those who once hunted her are growing more desperate, more violent. Every step she takes is a step closer to war, and when her path finally intersects with Spencer's, the collision is nothing short of explosive. For Spencer, meeting Tiana is more than just an encounter. It is a reckoning. He has seen the horrors of war, but nothing could prepare him for the devastation that has been inflicted upon her people. The truths she carries, the stories etched into her very soul, shake him to his core. He thought he understood what it meant to fight for survival, but Tiana has been waging a war since the day she was born. And as their worlds collide, Spencer is faced with an impossible choice. Does he continue on his path, chasing the ghosts of his past and the love he has lost? Or does he stand and fight for something far greater than himself? Because the forces that have hunted Tiana are the same forces that threaten the Duttons. The greed, the corruption, the endless hunger for power. It is all connected, a web of destruction that has been tightening around the Yellowstone for years. Donald Whitfield and his men are not just seeking land, they are seeking dominance. And if Spencer does not act now, the battle he returns to may already be lost. Tiana, too, is faced with a decision that could change everything. For so long, she has fought alone, trusting no one, relying only on her own instincts to survive. But Spencer is different. He is not just another white man chasing a dream of the West. He is a man who has been shaped by loss, by suffering, by an understanding that goes beyond words. He does not look at her with pity, nor does he treat her as an enemy. In him, she sees something she never expected. A kindred spirit, a warrior forged in pain and resilience. And in her, Spencer sees the truth he has been blind to for so long. The fight for the Yellowstone is not just a fight for a ranch. It is a fight for the soul of the land itself, for the people who have lived on it long before any Dutton laid claim to it. But war does not wait for decisions. As Spencer and Tiana struggle to navigate their newfound alliance, danger closes in from all sides. The men hunting Tiana are relentless, and if they find her, they will show no mercy. And Whitfield? He is no longer content to play the waiting game. He has been patient, watching as the Duttons cling desperately to their land. But now, with the winter bearing down on them, he is ready to strike. He does not need to take the ranch by force. He only needs to ensure that the Duttons cannot survive the storm. And as the blizzards rage and the cattle begin to die, the first seeds of destruction are sown. Jacob and Kara are barely holding on, fighting with everything they have to keep the ranch from slipping through their fingers. But they are running out of resources, running out of options, and worst of all, running out of time. Jack and Elizabeth's love, once so full of hope and promise, is being tested in ways they never imagined. Their dreams of a future together are crumbling under the weight of survival, and with each passing day, the reality becomes clearer. Love alone is not enough to keep the Dutton legacy alive. The Yellowstone is bleeding, and if something doesn't change soon, there will be nothing left to fight for. And that is exactly what Whitfield is counting on. But he has made one fatal mistake, because Spencer Dutton is coming home, and he is not coming alone. He has been a soldier, a hunter, a man shaped by war and loss, but now he is something more. He is a man with a purpose, a man who understands that some battles are not just about revenge, they are about justice. And as he and Tiana prepare to make their final stand, one truth becomes undeniable. The war for the Yellowstone has only just begun. But war comes with a cost, and before it is over, the land will be stained with blood. Some will rise, some will fall, and by the time the snow melts, the Dutton family will never be the same again. But will Spencer's return be enough, or has he already lost the battle before it even begins? One thing is certain. When the dust settles, nothing will ever be the same. Who will survive the winter? The brutal Montana winter has arrived in full force, and with it comes an unforgiving storm. Not just of snow and ice, but of blood, betrayal, and war. The Duttons, already battered and broken, now face their greatest test yet. The Yellowstone is crumbling under the weight of the relentless blizzards, the starving cattle, and the ruthless ambitions of Donald Whitfield. Jacob Dutton, once a symbol of unshakable strength, feels the cold creeping into his bones. Not just the winter's chill, but the realization that he may not live to see another spring. His once formidable presence is fading, his body weakened by the battles he has fought, and Kara knows it too. She sees it in the way he moves, in the weariness in his eyes, but she refuses to let the land slip through their fingers. The Yellowstone is more than a ranch. It is their home, their legacy, their very existence. And now, it is on the verge of destruction. Whitfield has waited for this moment, has orchestrated it with precision. He never intended to take the land by force. No, his plan has always been far more insidious. He knew the Duttons would fight, that they would never surrender to a man like him. So, he didn't challenge them to battle. He let nature do the work for him. The brutal winter, the dying cattle, the endless financial strain, he has forced them into a corner, leaving them desperate, vulnerable, clinging to survival by their fingertips. And now, with their backs against the wall, he makes his final move. He doesn't need to put a bullet in Jacob Dutton's head. He only needs to let the land starve him out, to push the family into debt so deep they have no choice but to hand over the deed to the Yellowstone. And just as the snow buries the land, so too does his influence bury the last hope the Duttons have of holding on. But Whitfield has underestimated one thing: Spencer Dutton. But even as Spencer prepares for war, another battle rages elsewhere. One that could change everything. Tiana Rainwater has been running for far too long, and now she is done running. The men who hunt her, the ones who have tried to erase her very existence, they are closing in. She can feel it, the suffocating weight of the past trying to pull her back. But she will not be caged again. She is no longer just a girl trying to survive. She is a warrior, forged in the fires of suffering, and she will not go quietly into the darkness. When she finally faces the men who have tormented her, when the moment of reckoning arrives, there is no hesitation. The vengeance she delivers is swift, brutal, and final. But vengeance comes at a price, and as the blood stains the snow beneath her feet, she knows that her war is far from over. Because Whitfield's influence extends beyond the Duttons, his allies are everywhere, and they will not let her go unpunished. As the days grow shorter and the blizzards rage, the Yellowstone is transformed into a battlefield. Whitfield makes his final move, believing that victory is within his grasp. But what he doesn't realize is that the Duttons do not die quietly. They are not just ranchers, they are warriors, protectors of the land, and they will not fall without a fight. When the first shot is fired, it is not the sound of defeat. It is the sound of resistance. Spencer, Jack, and the few remaining ranch hands stand their ground, outnumbered but unbroken. And in the chaos, a truth becomes clear. This is not just about land. This is about survival, about legacy, about the unbreakable bond of a family that refuses to be erased. But the winter is merciless, and the cost of war is always steep. Before the battle is over, before the snow begins to melt, death will come for the Duttons. One of them will not see the spring. One of them will fall, leaving behind a legacy that can never be replaced. And as the dust settles and the bodies lie cold in the snow, one question remains: was it enough? Did they fight hard enough? Did they bleed enough? Or is this the beginning of the end for the Dutton name? As the final moments of the season unfold, as the Yellowstone stands battered but not yet broken, one thing is certain: this war is far from over. Whitfield may have played his hand, may have thought himself the master of the game, but he has made one fatal mistake. He has underestimated the Duttons. He has underestimated the fire that burns in their blood, the unrelenting force that drives them to protect what is theirs. And as long as a single Dutton stands, as long as there is breath in their lungs, they will never surrender. The winter has brought death, has carved its mark into the land and the hearts of those who call it home. But from the ashes of loss, from the frozen ground soaked in blood, something new will rise. And when spring finally comes, It will not bring peace. It will bring vengeance. Share your thoughts in the comment section and subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.